Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Opinion Machine, the show where we talk about all things gaming. My name is Killjoy, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Vault Hunters for Borderlands 4, but specifically Vex, the Siren, today. There's a lot of information on these characters, so we're going to have to do one per video. It's going to take ages. I wasn't aware that they put up the skill trees and actions and all that sort of stuff, so I just want to go over it. I am excited for Borderlands 4. You guys probably seen, like, I love Borderlands 3. I love the series as a whole. Yes, it has its issues. Yes, there's other stuff around it. But the actual game, I very much enjoy. So let's get into it. So we've got Vex the Siren. We have a bunch of things here, like overviews and whatnot. But we're going to go straight to the Vex abilities breakdown. So these are your abilities. Like in 3, you had a choice of 3 of them. So Siren Vault Hunter trait, Phase Covenant. Vex is attuned to elemental type of a current gun, converting all action, skill, and melee damage into that type. So that means if you've got corrosive, all of that is corrosive. That's cool. I like that. Now, I will say I've never been a big fan of the Sirens. I've never really found them that fun. However, Vex seems to have the more interesting ability, so let's have a look. Apologies about the GIF running a bit rubbish. Siren action skills, Dead Ringer. The 4th seal skill tree. Charge skill free. Spawn a phase clone minion, choosing Spectre or Reaper. Phase clones lose an ever-increasing amount of health per second, and their damage type matches Vex's current attunement when spawned. You can spawn a Reaper that taunts enemies and deals melee attack, or Spectre that deals gun damage, can't move. So this is kind of cool. So this gives you extra damage. This gives you, like, other targets for the enemy to hit. So that's Dead Ringer. Incarnate. Vex creates a phase explosion, dealing damage to nearby enemies and fully restoring a health. That's pretty good for survivability. While active, Vex can use Eldritch Blast and gains increased movement speed, which is obviously this thing here. Eldritch Blast, fire an Eldritch Blast from her offhand, dealing damage to nearby enemies on impact. Dealing gun damage reduces Eldritch Blast's cooldown. You can end Incarnate early. So this is a I'm in trouble. Do some damage, gain some health, gain an extra ability that's extra damage off of your gun, and you can recharge it. It seems pretty cool. And then Phase Familiar. Here comes Trouble skill tree. Vex is joined by her minion Trouble. When killed, Trouble will respawn after a cooldown. Press the action skill to teleport Trouble, dealing damage in an area. Okay, so it's similar to the robot guy in the last game. I'm blanking on his name. Trouble then transforms into a badass, fully restoring her health and gaining increased damage duration. Activating Phase Familiar will respawn Trouble if he's currently dead. I like stuff like this, like having like an extra creature to come in. The fact that he becomes a badass sounds awesome. So let's have a look at the Siren skill trees. I'm going to give you my opinions. I've not really seen these. This is what the skill tree now looks like. You have like this main part here, and then you have the 3 tiers. This is just an image. I don't know what any of this stuff is. So let's just read through them, and I'll give you my opinion as I read them. So this is going on this first one. Sanguine Fiends. Oh, hang on. Which tree are we on? We're on 4th seal. 5 points. Kill skill. Vex and the minions restore health. So every time you kill something, you get an extra amount of health. I imagine that's probably going to be up to, like, if it's 5 points, probably at 20% at max, I guess. Idle Hands. Vex and her minions gain reload speed based on the fullness of her health. See, this sounds kind of nuts. Like, if your minions are going to be able... If you place down all 3 minions and you've got a bunch of skills that increase their fire rates and damage and all that sort of stuff as well, that's going to be bonkers. Seems pretty good. Cold Iron, 5 points. Vex and her minions gain increased gun damage. Yeah, straight up. So if you've got all 3 of them deployed, that's including yourself. Instead of just you, so it's 4 times now, depending on... that would specifically affect the range ones rather than the melee ones. Fell Inscriptions. Vex and her minions gain increased melee damage and maximum health. Okay, so one of these is for the long range one of these is close range. So maybe you pick one or the other. Grave Assault, we've got here. It's another kill skill. I do like kill skills. I think they're fun. Vex and her minions gain increased fire rate for duration. This effect can stack. Ooh, that's pretty good. Anything that increases fire rate is good. So, assuming that this is... If there's 5 points, let's say this is like another... This might be like a 20 to 30% maxed out, I guess. And it can stack. That's going to get pretty bonkers. And that includes a minion. Like, this tree already sounds really interesting. I feel like you can do a lot of damage. Ghast Blaster. Minion skill. Spectres gain the ability to use Ghast Blast, dealing gun damage to all nearby enemies on impact. Spectres will use Ghast Blast on spawn and after they reload. So they've got an extra ability. So they've got the shooting and they fire out this blast and they do it on spawn and they do it when they reload. So potentially you could have a, I don't know how it would work, but you potentially could have a weapon that has not much ammo, reloads often to fire out a lot of these blasts. That has potential to be very powerful, but without seeing it in action, I'm not sure. Portents of Suffering. Vex and her minions gain increased status effect damage. So we're talking what, like corrosive and shock and all that. Could be good. Like, depends if you want to go down that road of all those elements. But a lot of these skills are never bad to have. It's just depending on. I'm not the biggest fan. Well, I like explosive. That's like always been my favorite. So, Coven Augment. Spawning a Reaper grants Vex and her minions health regeneration for a duration. Spawning a Spectre grants Vex and her minions critical hit chance for a duration. Both effects. That's interesting. So potentially with this class, you could get a lot of health back once you get down the tree, or if you're going for crit stuff, a massive increase in. Well, it won't be a massive increase. It's probably, if it's just one augment, it's probably a 10% to 15% chance, which is still pretty big if you're going for that sort of thing. And if you know me, I'm not a big fan of like 5%, 10% increments and stuff like this, but potentially it could be very powerful. Curse Blade. Vex's melee attacks apply curse to hit enemies, making them take kinetic status effect damage anytime they take gun damage. I'm not sure what kinetic is. That must be new to this game, but I assume that's like smacking something into someone. Potentially could be very good. I'm not sure on that one though, because I'm not sure what it is. I've not been looking too much into Borderlands 4. I've watched enough of it to know that I want to play it. Blood Sacrifice. So this is still the main tree. We're not even on branch 1 yet. So 1 point, activate kill skills whenever Vex's minions die. That's good. That's a very good ability. Because what we got already, we got 1 kill skill, 2 kill skills. Probably got more. Is another one. There's another one. So yeah, you can basically trigger 4 things potentially with having that. Grave Friends. Kill skill. Vex and her minions deal increased damage. Well, why would you not take this? Like, and whenever one of the minions dies, you gain this. So, that's pretty crazy. And it stacks. So, yeah. Grave Quickening. Vex increased action skill cooldown rate. I love action skill cooldown rate. Action skills are one of the most fun things to use in Borderlands. Anything that reduces that, so you can just keep upping it out. Awesome. 5 points to that makes me think is, again, it might be like done on seconds. It depends how fast she can spawn in those characters. Extra Cursed. Passive. Requires a point in Cursed Blade. Cursed damage now triggers on minion melee damage and deals increased damage when it's triggered by a critical hit. That seems pretty crazy. So already, we're not even in the first branch. We're just talking about this main thing, and already there's some interesting stuff here that I'm like, okay, I can definitely see some things here with these minions. Seems like a very survival style. Survival and a lot of damage. Branch 1. Blight Attunement. Attunement kill skill. While Vex is attuned to corrosive, killing an enemy creates a haunting remnant minion for a duration that seeks out nearby enemies, dealing corrosive status effect damage over time. Restores haunting remnant's duration if active. It's a kill skill. Restores it, right. I like the fact that it's corrosive. That means it's good against anything that's like armored. This is one of those things I kind of need to see it in action to fully understand how this works. But potentially very, very cool because it activates on kill skill as well, which, again, if you've got a lot of damage output, you could potentially be triggering that however often it allows you to trigger it. Wither. Attunement kill skill. While Vex is attuned to corrosive, killing an enemy creates a haunting remnant minion for a duration that seeks nearby enemies, dealing corrosive status effect damage over time. Oh, so, hang on. Wait, you get it as a... Is this... Have they mucked up here? Have they written this twice? It looks like they've written the same thing twice. Yeah, okay, so I'm not quite sure what's happened here, but this is the same skill. So we'll skip over that then. Prismatic Ichor. When Vex and her minions apply a status effect, apply another... Ooh, I like that. I like stuff that's a bit weird and a bit crazy. So if you apply like corrosive, randomly have shock or something like that, I like it. That's something I would definitely use. I like this. That could potentially be very powerful if you get the right combination, but it is a bit random. So, Keen Suffering. Status effect damage gains a chance to critically hit. Again, if you're going for a high crit, that could be very, very powerful. These things, usually crit isn't the thing that I go for. I can see why you would because it's maximum damage, but that would be good for endgame, I think. Gust the bait, 3 points. When Vex dodges, dodges? Oh, yeah, you can dodge in this game, yeah. When Vex dodges, she creates a spectre nearby and becomes invisible for a duration or until her next gunshot. Ooh, that's a good get out of jail free. I like that. That is a cool ability. The fact that you actively dodge and you then create a spectre anyway, and then you're invisible, and that invisible will probably be like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, something like that. If it's longer than that, that'd be kind of nuts. And it's a passive as well, so... Shoot to go. When Vex swaps her current gun, her new gun has its ammo partially refilled. Wait, oh, right, so you don't actually have to reload. You can just shoot it, switch back to the other one. That could be good. I mean, you wouldn't ever technically have to reload in a fight as long as you keep swapping between guns, because you just keep swapping. So if you've got swap speed fairly high up, then this would be worth it. Necrosis, 5 points. So Vex gains increased corrosive damage and corrosive status effects. So this whole thing seems to be corrosive. This branch one, which is cool. Which means he's very good against armored stuff. Heirloom, Capstone. Spectres gain a copy of Vex's currently equipped gun for a duration. Only one Spectre can have a copied gun at a time, and spawning a new Spectre will remove the copied gun. Oh, interesting. So you can spawn the Spectres, but only one of them will have the gun you currently have. So the others will have their own weapons, I guess, and that will give one a rocket launcher. Sounds good to me. Alright, so far I would say this. So far, like, the base skills seem pretty good. This is all corrosive, which I think, apart from this being written the same, I like the sound of the corrosive stuff. I think this Gaster bait could be potentially very powerful. But yeah, so far so good. I'm enjoying this tree specifically. Branch 2, so burning attunement. Attunement skill. When Vex is attuned to Incendiary, Vex and her minions gain increased critical hit damage and status effect application chance. These effects persist for a duration after attunement is switched. So this seems like... So you do fire damage, and it's more likely to happen. And her minions do it. So yeah, so if you want... Is this going to be a whole fire tree? Is that what we're looking at? It looks like it, yeah. So we've got corrosive, we've got fire. This could be very powerful. Especially against like humanoid enemies. Hellish Harvest. Minion skill. Reapers gain the ability to use Hellish Harvest during melee damage 3 times. Dealing melee damage 3 times in a large area around themselves and regenerate health for each enemy hit. Reapers will use Hellish Harvest on spawn every third. Oh wow, okay. So an area effect attack, and they heal, so that keeps them alive longer. Yeah, that could be very powerful, depending on whether you want to use Reapers over the Spectres. Reoccurrence. Whenever Vex deals gun damage or melee damage, gain a stack of recurrence, which increases her and her minions' gun damage and melee damage. Stacks of recurrence are lost if a new stack has not been gained for duration. So that's gain gun damage or melee damage, and it increases her minions' damage, gun damage, and melee damage. Yeah, I could see that. That could be very powerful. Some of these other skills, like I'm already thinking in my head, like certain skills that could link with other skills. So that could be very, very good. Doesn't sound that interesting, but I could potentially be very powerful. Reverberations. Reverberations? Melee damage dealt by Vex or her minions has a chance to deal incendiary melee damage. That could be very good if you're just going for fire. If you've got stuff that buffs fire, then that's going to be decent. Haru Spec. Melee override. Vex now throws a phase dagger from her offhand that deals melee damage to enemies hit. Phase daggers can critically hit. Haru Spec's cooldown is reset. Oh, it's a kill skill. Ugh. I like melee stuff, but I just don't know how effective this is. The fact that it can critically hit seems pretty good, depending on how powerful they are. If they're like decent, like launching them, probably quite good. Burnt Offering. Passive, 5 points. Vex gains increased incendiary damage and incendiary status effect. Pretty obvious what that is. Just extra fire. Grim Reaper, Capstone. Press and hold the ability to spawn a Grim Reaper that drains nearby enemies, dealing status effect damage over time and regenerating health for each drained enemy. When an enemy dies while being drained, there's a chance the new Reaper... Whoa, okay, that's cool. That's a cool ability. This is the thing with Borderlands, is the best abilities are always at the bottom. Obviously, it makes sense, you know, because it's powerful stuff. But this is so cool. So you actually spawn a Grim Reaper, takes their health, deals effect damage over time, and there's a chance for another one to spawn when it kills something. I like this. I hope this is like a 10-second... Like, is there for about 10 seconds to give it a chance to actually kill things. Very, very cool. I like that. Pincushion. Passive skill requires the knife. Haru specs now throws multiple phase daggers from both hands in a fan pan. That's cool. Killing an enemy now only reruns a portion of Haru specs cooldown. Oh, okay. So if you use this, you only get a part of it. However, the fact that you can like launch fan and knives and stuff, I like it. Very, very cool. And then finally on to branch 3. Prismatic weaponry. I would say this one sounds pretty cool, mainly for fire and stuff, but the knife stuff with the Grim Reaper thing, awesome. Very much like those. Prismatic weaponry. Vex and her Spectres deal bonus damage with gun critical hits. Bonus damage will be a random elemental type that changes on reload and that is increased for active achievement. This sounds nuts. So you do bonus hit, and it's a random element type, and a random element changes based on when you reloaded your gun. I like it. Very, very silly. Very, very cool. I don't know how practical it is, but I like it as an ability. That could be, again, some of these in each of these trees could work so well together. Banshee's Wail is an augment. Minion skill. Reapers can now use Banshee's Wail periodically, dealing damage to nearby enemies and granting overshield to nearby allies. Damage increases apply to overshield granted to allies. Damage enemies deal reduced damage for duration. That's cool. That's a fun skill. So now your Reapers can either damage or give you a shield. I like that. But they're really, this minion stuff, they're really leaning into it really well. I like what I'm seeing so far. Obedient Friends. Vex gains increased minion damage. Minion skills and command skills gain further increased damage. So let's just hit my minions are better. Have more damage. Spirit Bomb. Okay. Reapers gain maximum health capacity and will release a Spirit Bomb Remnant when they die, dealing damage of the element or something. Let me read that again. Reapers gain maximum health and will release a Spirit Bomb Remnant when they die, dealing damage to their elemental type. Oh, okay. So they die and they blow up. That's pretty cool. If it's specifically just on the Reapers. Ancient Rites. Vex gains a stack of Ancient Rites for each of her active minions every second, increasing minion damage. Stacks are lost after a duration. Oh. Okay, so you can, if you time it out well, you can keep getting stacks to keep increasing your minion damage. That's cool. That could potentially be very good as well. Death follows closer. Whenever Vex takes damage while at low health, spawn a Reaper nearby. That's cool. You're definitely playing a dangerous game, so it'd be cool to spawn more of those. I like it. Die near. Dead Ringer gains an additional charge. That's the ability to spawn one, so you get an extra one of those, which is cool. Dark Pact. Vex can now equip 2 augments and gains the ability to use Dark Pact. Dark Pact. Press and hold the ability while a minion is active to fully restore health of all phase clones, as well as granting increased movement speed and minion attack speed for a duration. Phase clones do not lose health over time while Dark Pact is active, and health loss is reset when Dark Pact ends. Oh, interesting. So you can basically survive. It's like a survival ability while it's active, and all your minions don't take damage by the sounds of it, or do not lose health, sorry. This sounds like fun. This sounds like a really cool, different ability. It really shakes it up. Some of these, when we get abilities that really change up the gameplay, that's the stuff that interests me the most. I would say that this whole thing, summoning this Dead Ringer one, summoning these people to help you in combination with all that, sounds great. Honestly sounds really good. So now we're on Incarnate, and this is the whole Eldritch Blast stuff. So let's see. So that last tree was very elemental heavy. Let's see what this tree is like. So this is the base set here. Guns and Needles. Kill skill restores a rep kit called, what is rep kit? Is that like health? I'm assuming that's just health you have on you. If that's, I don't know what that is. But okay, if that's like a recharging health pack you have on you, that'd be cool. Volatile Essence. Vex gains increased splash damage. Always good. Double this effect when an action skill is active. Oh wow, okay. That's cool. I like the fact that you've got bigger splash damage, so if you're using a rocket launcher or something with an explosive on it, boom, bigger. Leeching Attunement. Attunement skill. While Vex is attuned to Kinetic, she gains lifesteal and increased reload speed. These effects persist for a duration after attunement is switched. That's cool. I need to, like, the tune thing, I've forgotten what this is. I assume this is when you're tuned to Kinetic, you're tuned to, oh, like one of the elements in it. So I just don't remember if I ever saw Kinetic in the stuff I've seen about the game, but I probably have. Grave Sights. Vex gains increased critical hit and damage and gun handling. This effect can stack. Classic Borderlands. Just here's a couple of things. Here's a bunch of points in it, so you're better at it. Fiendish Invigoration. When Vex uses a rep kit, she and her minions gain increased movement speed and fire rate. Okay, so whatever these rep kits are, we're adding stuff to those. So when you activate it, you gain a big buff. I like that. That sounds cool. I think having this cooldown on it is going to play massively into this. Geist Wave. Instead of causing a phase explosion, Vex launches a Geist Wave, dealing ordnance damage to enemies it passes through. Each affected enemy takes increased damage. Oh, okay, cool. That sounds fun. So you send out this wave, and then everything hit by it takes increased damage. It's like marking the target. Yeah, I'm down for that. That's cool. That sounds like a fun, especially for co-op. That sounds very good. Bloodletter. Gun and skill critical hits have a chance to apply bleed, causing kinetic status effect damage over time. Bleed is affected by status effect, application chance, and it is self-considered a status effect. So we can basically take damage over time. Could be pretty good. Depends how effective bleed is. Energy Vampire. Vex deals status effect damage to nearby enemies over time and gains overshield for each enemy affected. Kill skill. Killing an enemy while incarnate is active will grant a stack of Energy Vampire, increasing status effect damage. Stacks are lost when incarnate ends. So basically, you do damage, you charge it with shield. So it's like a survival ability. Boom, 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 boom. Now my shield's overcharged. Assuming overshield is having more shield than what you're meant to be carrying. I don't know if that recharges your shield, but if it actually actively recharges it as well, that's actually really good. Grave Implements. Kill skill. Vex and minions gain increased gun damage for a duration. Standard again. Have some more damage. So it's pretty good. Channeling. Passive. Vex gains increased action skill duration and attunement duration. The fact that the action skill's increased, very, very cool. Attunement. Need to see how that works, but I'm sure that's probably good. If you're attuned to something, you want it to last longer, right? Especially if you're in that sort of fight. So that's cool. Material components. Vex gains increased kinetic damage and kinetic status effect. Again, don't know what kinetic is, but it's a straight buff to that. Grave power. Vex's kill skills gain increased max stats. That's also very cool. So it's probably one stack per point. It might be more than that. But essentially, if you've got a bunch of kill skills, you definitely want this because they're going to last and increase those stacks, right? And you want to have more stacks because then it starts to get into silly territory of how powerful they are. Target prescience. Vex's gun damage gains critical hit chance against any part. Oh my god, this is an old skill they're bringing back from... It's either Borderlands 1 or 2. One of the sniper characters had this ability. I'm pretty sure. Was it? Maybe it wasn't the snipers. Somebody has this ability in one of the previous games, which is you no longer have to aim at the head, and you just get critical hits by firing it. And I'm sure it's a character that I played. I'm thinking the other skill I was thinking of was the one that Mordecai has, which is just ignore shields completely, which is just ridiculously powerful. I don't know why you wouldn't get it, but yeah, this is I like this. This is a very, very good skill. Alright, we're on to branch 1. This branch itself I quite like. There's a lot of basic skills in here, but there's also a lot of things like Geist Wave and the stuff with the rep kit, so Fiendish Invigoration, along with Guns and Needles. Stuff like that I quite like. Energy Vampire is also very cool. So this is good. Target Prescience is just straight up just good. Alright, branch 1, Radiant Attunement. Okay, so attunement skill. While Vex is attuned to radiation, she gains increased splash damage and maximum shield capacity. Oh, nice. I forget Radiant and Corrosive are not the same thing. These effects can be last for the duration of the attunement. I like this because of splash and maximum shield capacity. Sounds good. Phase Explosion and Eldritch Blast, sorry, Iron Maiden. Restore shield for each enemy hit and deal increased damage based on Vex's current shield. Oh, okay. That's a survival ability again. Like we can get a ton of shield back. I like it. I like it very much. Conjunction. Vex gains increased gun damage the more full her shield and gains damage reduction the less... Right, hang on. Vex gains increased gun damage the more full her shield is, full stop. So the shield is full, have more damage, and then you gain damage reduction the less full her health is. That's a cool ability because that means that if you're not getting hit and your shield's up, you're doing more damage. But when you don't do that amount of damage because you've got no shield and your health is less, you've got damage reduction. Potentially see this, if this is 5 points, I think this is probably, gun damage is probably be like a 10 to 15er, and the damage reduction might be about 20% on that. The problem with Borderlands, it doesn't go that deep, so it might be less than that. It might be like 10 and 10. But that does seem cool. I would love it to be more like 20 and 20, but we'll see. Deadlight. When Vex deals gun damage, there is a chance to spawn a radioactive hazard. Oh, that's cool, like a proxy. I like that. I like proc skills. So there's a chance at some point, probably the higher chance with the more points, to spawn a hazard that does radioactive damage. Cool, I like it. Isn't Radiant what took over from Slag? I think isn't that. I could be wrong. Might be something else. Restorative Tonic. When Vex uses a rep kit, she gains increased shield regeneration. That's cool. This is survivability. I like survivability stuff. Very, very, very cool. Basic ability, but very good. Full Moon. Vex gains increased action skill cooldown rate and ordnance cooldown rate based on the fullness of the shield. So again, when you're not being attacked, your action skill cooldown is going to come down a lot faster along with ordnance cooldown. So that's cool. Again, some of these abilities feel very basic, but I think what they allow this character to do is have a lot of survivability. This tree specifically, and also be able to spawn out the action skill a lot, which is good. Havoc. Vex gains increased radiation damage and radiation status effects. So that's just going in with all the radiation stuff here. Very cool. Desecration, phase explosion, and Eldritch Blast create hazards, dealing damage over time for a duration. Eldritch Blast is now homing. If it hits an airborne enemy, it bursts after a delay, dealing damage to. Oh, that's cool. So that's like the change of Eldritch Blast. This seems like a really cool skill actually. The fact that it leaves like the damage over time stuff. So in an enclosed space, this could be very damaging. This particular branch I quite like as well. Again, there's some simple stuff here, but it's very survivable, and I like that. I like survivability. I think they wrote branch 1. No? Hello? Oh, they mixed up branch 1 and 3 and 2? Or they put them in a different order? I don't know. Let's go anyway. Apparently this next one is branch 3. So, Drinkful, passive. Whenever Vex deals gun damage, she gains a stack of Drinkful, increasing her fire rate. Stacks of Drinkful are now lost if a new stack is not gained. That's cool. Fire rate's just an awesome thing to have. Very much like that. And it's just passive as well. So as long as you're hopefully building them, that should stay up for a fairly long time in battle. Witchy Trigger Finger, that's a good name. Dealing damage with Eldritch Blast or Phase Explosion will fully refill ammo on Vex's current gun. That's powerful. And grants a stack of Witchy Trigger Finger using gun damage for a duration. Stacks of Witchy Trigger Finger persist even after Incarnate ends. Ooh, okay. The fact that it reloads your gun is mental. That's a very, very, very handy thing to do, because then you're not having to faff around with it. Keen Mind, passive. Vex's skill damage gains critical hit chance against any part of the enemies. Oh. Skill damage. Oh, right, rather than actually her shooting is whatever passive. Cool. Again, very, very powerful. You no longer have to aim at the head. You just aim wherever. Phase Pocket. Vex gains increased magazine size and gun switch speed. Double this effect when the action skill. So this is, again, this is an old classic. Old magazine gun switch. I imagine every single Vault Hunter is going to have a lot of these. Just flat out, it's just better. You know, it's not the most interesting skill, but the fact that it's a doubled effect when the action skill is active is cool. Mortal Terror. Chance to activate kill skills when critically hitting it. Chance to activate kill skills when critically hitting enemy. Oh, so you no longer have to kill them, you just have to crit them. Again, seems very powerful if you're going for crit as well. If you've got the ability to just shoot them and crit wherever, that's a good combo. That's going to work very well. Grave Elements, kill skill. Vex and minions gain elemental damage for a duration, so just flat out have some elemental stuff. Cool. Vibe check. Eldritch Blast is now a charge skill of 3. Activating Eldritch Blast consumes all charges to ricochet on hitting an enemy. Will ricochet once for each charge consumed. Eldritch Blast's cooldown reduction and gun damage is doubled. That's cool. So now you have a bouncy ball attack. I like that. That sounds fun. I would have this. Just launch it, bam, bam, bam. Hit a bunch of people. And considering if that's going to hit 3 enemies, I'd say that's pretty good. Depends how many enemies are on screen at once, I guess. Strike Me Down. Whenever Vex would enter Fight for Your Life, she immediately gets second wind, becomes invisible for a duration, and causes a face explosion. Why would you not get this? Seems pretty good to me. I mean, it is right at the bottom of a tree, I guess. Alright, Branch 2. Whether they got Branch 2 and 3 around, I don't know. But this is apparently Branch 2. Grave Vitality. Vex gains increased. Oh, by the way, this seems like a good tree as well. With some fun ability. Witchy Trigger Finger. There's a lot of, again, a lot of the basic stuff, but Vibe Check's cool and Strike Me Down's very powerful. Grave Vitality. Vex gains increased maximum health capacity and health regen. I like it. Sounds good. Health regen is always something nice to have. Grave Harvest. Killing an enemy while Incarnate is active will spawn a soul orb that deals status effect damage over time to nearby enemies for duration. That seems similar to something we had in the past. Use it range to detonate a soul orb, dealing ordnance damage to nearby. Oh, okay, so you can like fire it out, bang. Picking up a soul orb will restore health and action skill rate. Okay, that's cool. That's an interesting kill skill. It's fun though. Now you've got a thing that blows stuff up and do status effect damage. I like it. Ars Arcana. Vex gains increased skill damage. Basic, but depending on the amount, because it doesn't say any amounts on this. That'd be good. A deeper grave. Vex's kill skills gain increased duration. That seems good. If you want all your, if you've got a bunch of kill skills, why wouldn't you get that? Bloodshot. When Vex uses a rep kit, her next gunshot will become a bloodshot, converting damage dealt into kinetic damage and dealing bonus damage based on her current health, which is a cool proc actually. So you use one of those things, bang, you do an extra bunch of damage and does kinetic damage. Seems good. Essence Leech. Vex gains lifesteal. Double this effect when I like this. This is a sort. Anything that gives me health back in a fight, like especially boss fights and stuff, very nice. I like. With the ability to move around as much as you can in in Borderlands 3 and what looks to be Borderlands 4, maybe it's less so, but I still like the fact that potentially this is like a life-saving sort of skill. Heart Piercer. Eldritch Blast now sacrifices health on use, but becomes a piercing wave. Enemies take damage, and allies hit restore health. Gain bonus damage and healing based on sacrifice. I like this. This is a cool co-op mode thing. Eldritch Blast no longer has a cooldown. Ooh. So you can use it whenever you want. Okay, very, very, very cool. I like it. Blood is power. Passive. Requires a point of Essence Leech. Vex gains bonus kinetic damage with guns based on her current lifesteal when her health is full. Nice. So it just buffs this, basically. Alright. That tree seems pretty cool. Again, there's some very simple stuff, but there seem like, you know, good things like Deeper Grave, Heart Piercer, Essence Leech. There's definitely stuff that I would take. Grave Harvest is also very cool. And then Grave Vitality, the ability to just have more health and health regen. We like that. Alrighty. So now we're on to the final one, which is the Phase Familiar, which is the tree that I would probably go for if I'm honest, because I liked having the minion. Okay, so there's a little dragon symbol there. Alright. Grave Sustenance. Kill skill. Restore a percentage of action skill duration. Oh, so you kill it and just extends it. Yeah, I like that. Very basic, but cool. Vex gain enchantment. Vex gains bonus kinetic damage with guns while her action skill is active. Anything. So that's again, it's just like here's a buff to your thing that you're going to use anyway. So as soon as you activate your action skill, have some more damage. Blood is magic. Vex deals increased action skill damage the higher her health. Oh, I like that. That seems pretty cool. Hasty Fiends. Vex and her minions gain increased movement speed and damage reduction. Okay, movement speeds. I'm a big sucker for movement speed. Anything that makes me move around quicker, I would be getting that, regardless of whether it's good or not. Damage reduction is nice, but movement speed. Oh yeah, let's go. Grave Command. Kill skill. Restore a percentage of Trouble's command skill cooldown and respawn. So you can basically, you kill it, makes it recharge quicker. We like that. Violent Outburst. Command skill. Press and hold action skill to command Trouble to explode himself. Nice. Dealing ordnance damage to all nearby enemies, restoring health to Vex. While Phase Familiar is active, sacrifice the percentage of maximum health capacity instead. I like the idea that you send out your pet and just blow him up to kill off stuff. That's quite funny. I have to see that in action, but I like what they're going for there. Overprotective. Kill skill. Vex and minions gain overshield. Nice. So you just get a bunch of extra shield, potentially. That's good for the bear as well if you want to send the bear in. I think you're going to be able to buff the bear quite a lot. Blink Strike. Command skill. Press and hold action skill to command Trouble to blink strike to target enemy dealing damage. Blink Strike always critically strikes enemies who have less than 50% of the health. This is a cool skill. So you actually teleport and go and attack that guy. Boom. And you know that if you've got less than 50, it's a crit. Nice. Yowl and Bay. Vex's minions gain increased maximum health capacity. Vex gains increased gun damage for a duration after commanding Trouble. Nice. Anything related to this bear seems good. Morning. Vex's kill skills gain increased effectiveness. So they're just better. Okay, cool. Claw and Bang. Vex and her minions gain increased melee damage and ordnance damage. The bear blowing up with the ordnance stuff. This seems like a no-brainer. Overheal. While Vex has Overshield, she and her minions gain health regeneration. Oh, I like it. And it's a passive. I like it. Anything that gives me health regeneration and shield regen. Nice. Vorpal Fiends. Vex and her minions gain critical hit damage. So just gain more damage. I like this for the bear stuff. Anything related to the bear is pretty cool. Just because I like the idea of trouble. If I was going to play this character, which I don't know who I would play, I would definitely be using the bear. That's the one that interests me the most. They all seem pretty good, but the bear is the one I would want to use. Alright, branch 1. Icy Attunement. Attunement kill skill. While Vex is attuned to Cryo, killing an enemy restores ammo and ordnance. Okay. That's cool. Effect persists for a duration after attunement is switched. Restore ammo and ordnance. I mean, restoring ammo seems nice. Not sure. It seems good. I mean, ice freezes enemies. Is all the status effects are good for the most part. Hex's Nexus. Trouble now taunts enemies, making them more likely to target him. Command skill. Press and hold action skill to command Trouble to charge target enemy, dealing melee damage in a radius on impact, creating a singularity for a duration. So it goes bang, brings them all in. I like these augments are really fun. I like the sound of this one. The other one's really cool. It blows up. This one where he taunts. That seems very useful. Just buff the bear. Give the bear all the buffs. Make the bear good. Let him be the tank basically. Blast Rights. Whenever Vex uses an ordnance, she gains overshield and also gains increased fire rate. So you gain more shield and increased fire rate. Seems good. Basic but good. Overspirited. Kill skill. Killing an enemy with ordnance damage or an action skill will spawn an explosive remnant that deals cryo ordnance damage to nearby enemies. Explosive remnant gains increased damage based on it. So you kill an enemy with ordnance or an action skill will spawn an explosive remnant and then deals cryo ordnance. So it's a whole load of... That sounds fun. I mean, the fact that you're spawning into something else that does more damage is good. But you have to specifically kill an enemy with ordnance or action skill to spawn that. Could be good depending on what your preference is down the paths on these trees. Blasted Fiends. Vex gains increased ordnance damage. A perfect of Vex's ordnance damage increases minion damage. Oh, okay, so you get like a perfect shot. They get increased minion damage. Nice. Can't remember what ordnance is. I don't know if that just means guns and stuff or is it specific? Like a grenade or something. Again, not fully been following this game because I want to keep myself fairly fresh going in. So I will learn about these things. Corporeal. Vex and her minions gain increased maximum overshield capacity and overshield duration. While Vex has overshield, she and her minions gain increased dealt damage. Oh, damage dealt. Nice. So you do more damage while you have maximum shield capacity and overshield duration. Seems good. Shiver. Vex gains increased cryo damage and status effect. So it does more damage and it affects probably freezes people quicker. Straight up. Just makes ice better. Trouble Bubble. Trouble now gains overshield whenever he deals damage. That's mental. While his familiar is active, Trouble gains an elemental aura dealing ordnance damage. So this makes your bear deal damage, gain more shield, and also has an elemental aura dealing ordnance damage to nearby enemies. This seems really good. I really like what this tree, all these skill trees in this particular area is going for. I like it. Sounds fun. Branch 2. Elemental Essence. Vex gains increased elemental damage. Double this effect when an action skill is active. Straight up, just if you're elemental, you go for this. By the way, this tree, I definitely like Trouble Bubble. Some of this stuff seems really good, but and also Hex's Nexus seems pretty good. But there's a lot of... I think just the bear stuff is the stuff that interests me the most about it. Vorpal Fang. Trouble gains a chance to critically hit with attacks. Press and hold action skill to command Trouble to summon phase daggers overhead that fire at enemies. See, they're making the bear sound like... So why would I want to play any of the other trees when you can have a bear that does crazy stuff like this? This seems awesome. I don't know how good this is, but I like the idea that it does melee damage with the daggers. And it's dealing melee damage on impact, so potentially other things might buff that. Keen Fiends. Minion damage gains critical hit chance against any part of the body. Okay, so there's this one again. There's critical hit chance against anything from the minions. So in this case, the bear has a potentially chance to critical hit. Infernal Sum. Vex and her minions deal increased critical hit damage to enemies who have less than a set percentage of their health. So if they're at, let's say it's 50%, you're going to do more damage to them. Seems good. Sacrificial Essence. Kill skill. Vex and her minions gain increased damage dealt, but Vex also gains increased damage taken. Oh, okay. Stacks are lost when Vex dodges or enters fight for your life. So this is Vex and her minions gain increased damage dealt. I'm not a big fan of stuff like this. I probably wouldn't go for this. I don't want to increase damage taken, but I can see why there could be some potential crazy plays played with that. Reawakening. Whenever Vex or a minion is critically hit, there is a chance to restore action skill cooldown. Sounds good. Love stuff like that. Tail Whip. Trouble gains the ability to tail whip, dealing damage in an area over 2 hits. Seems good. Don't know why you wouldn't get it. Double Trouble. Capstone. Trouble now gains a chance to create an illusion near the enemy when dealing damage. Critical hits have a double the chance. Illusions become badasses. Wow. Okay, I like that. That's fun. So you get an illusion of the bear who also has like a chance to critical hit and also becomes a badass. Nice. Okay. Again, this particular tree has some fun things in it. Most of the stuff related to the bear, I'd say. Branch 3. Shocking attunement. While Vex is attuned to shock, she gains increased movement speed and gun damage. Alright, that's the one I've been going for. Give me that. Vex persists after the duration. They're all these attunements are really cool. I like those. Branch 3. Beast mode. Command skill. Press and hold action skill to command Trouble to enter beast mode, becoming immune to damage and gaining increased minion attack speed and movement speed. Whoa. Kill skill extends the beast mode. That's cool. So he's completely immune. He has faster attack speed and faster movement speed. Okay, they're really selling me on this character. Grave Current, passive. Vex's minions gain bonus shock damage. Yeah, that makes sense. It's in this tree. Dead Wire. When Vex deals gun damage, there is a chance to spawn a spark remnant that will seek out nearby enemies and explode, dealing shock minion damage. I like the sound of that. That sounds fun. Just send them out and blow them up. Grave Thirst. Vex and her minions gain lifesteal for a duration. That seems powerful. Would definitely get for that. And it's on kill skill as well. Infusion. When Vex uses a rep kit, she and her minions gain bonus damage with guns and melee damage for duration. The bonus damage elemental type is based on attunement. So whatever you're attuned to, you do that. That's cool. Stormblessed. Vex gains increased shock damage. And yep, straight up just makes that better. And then lastly, Unsealed. Trouble will now mark his current target, causing them to take increased gun damage from Vex. Kill skill. When a marked enemy is killed, Trouble gains a stack of Unsealed for a duration, granting health regeneration and increased damage. While Phase Familiar is active, Unsealed effects are doubled. This effect can stack. Not as interesting as some of the other stuff, but still very cool. Like, increasing the gun damage of Vex is nice. This particular tree, this Here Comes Trouble tree, is the one I would go for because I love the idea of all the different stuff with the bear. Very, very fun. Like I said, I've never been a big fan of the Siren in past games. This Siren, however, is taking this bear thing is very similar to, I wish I could remember the bloody robot's name from the Borderlands 3. He has pets and beasts that hunt for him. It's very similar to that. I like it. Incarnate, I think, has some very cool ideas. Out of the 3, this is the one I wouldn't go for personally, like Vexcalation. It's not that it's bad, it's just the one I wouldn't go for, which probably means it's probably the best and most efficient one. And then Deadringer with the other skills, the other minions that you summon, I also really like. So Deadringer and Phase Familiar as skills, very, very cool. As the 4th seal, and Here Comes Trouble as the best trees. They're the ones that interest me the most because there's a lot of like play to be had with the things that you summon in. But Phase Familiar would be the one I would go to. That would be like the first. Deadringer would be second, and Incarnate would be third. Overall, I actually think Vex seems pretty fun. Seems like there's some cool skills in there, especially stuff with the bear. But overall, actually seems way more interesting than I've ever had with other Sirens in the past. So this would be definitely interested right now in this character. We'll see going over the other characters how I feel by the end of it. But Vex right now to start with, like Phase Familiar, sounds a lot of fun. It's definitely a sort of thing I would play. And there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with co-op play in this as well, especially with all 3 trees. So anyway, that's going to do it for me today then, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, as well as other things, hit subscribe. There's more Borderlands 4 stuff going to be coming down the line when the game comes out. And until next video, I will see you then.